In Part 1, we explored how the Telegraph created the conceptual framework that made spiritualism possible, and witnessed the rise of the Fox sisters from small-town curiosities to international celebrities. But as their fame grew, so did the questions about the authenticity of their spirit communications. The explosive success of the Fox sisters and the rapid spread of spiritualism attracted not only believers, but also determined skeptics who were convinced that fraud lay behind the mysterious phenomena. What followed was an unprecedented investigation that would reveal uncomfortable truths about the nature of spiritual experience and the complexity of human deception. The most damaging revelation came in 1888, when Maggie Fox, now an adult struggling with alcoholism and financial problems, publicly confessed that the original Hydesville wrappings had been fraudulent. In a dramatic appearance at the New York Academy of Music, she demonstrated how she and her sister Kate had produced the mysterious sounds by cracking their toe joints and manipulating objects with their feet. The sounds that had launched the entire spiritualist movement were revealed to be nothing more than clever manipulation by two young girls. The confession sent shockwaves through the spiritualist community. But the story didn't end there. A year later, Maggie recanted her confession, claiming she had been pressured by enemies of spiritualism. Kate maintained that some of their experiences had been genuine, even if others were fraudulent. The sisters died in poverty within a few years, leaving behind a legacy of confusion and controversy. Paradoxically, the exposure of spiritualist fraud led to more rigorous scientific investigation rather than wholesale dismissal of psychic phenomena. Researchers who had mastered electromagnetic phenomena began applying similar investigative methods to alleged psychic phenomena, approaching spirit communication with the same systematic rigor they brought to electrical research. The most prominent example was William Crookes, one of Britain's most distinguished scientists. Crookes had discovered the element thallium, invented the Crookes tube, which led to the discovery of X-rays and the electron, and made fundamental contributions to atomic theory and electromagnetic research. In 1870, Crookes announced his intention to investigate alleged psychic phenomena using the same experimental methods that had proven successful in physical research. His approach was methodologically sophisticated. He arranged for controlled laboratory conditions, used scientific instruments to detect any normal forces that might be producing apparently supernatural effects, and maintained detailed records of all observations. Working with the medium Daniel Douglas Home, Crookes documented phenomena that seemed to violate known physical laws under conditions that precluded normal explanations. Objects moved without visible cause, musical instruments played themselves, and materialized hands appeared that could be touched and examined. Most remarkably, these effects seemed to respond to electrical conditions in ways that suggested electromagnetic involvement. Crookes developed what he called the psychic force theory, proposing that human consciousness could generate a previously unknown form of energy that shared some properties with electricity. Like electromagnetic force, this psychic force was invisible but demonstrably real, intangible but capable of producing observable effects. Other scientists followed Crookes' lead, including Alfred Russel Wallace, co-discoverer of the theory of evolution, Lord Rayleigh, Nobel Prize winner in physics, and Sir Oliver Lodge, pioneer of radio technology. These weren't credulous amateurs, but accomplished researchers who applied rigorous scientific methods to psychic investigation. One of the most revolutionary aspects of the spiritualist movement was its radical transformation of gender roles and women's authority. The spirits, it seemed, preferred to speak through women, giving female mediums a form of religious authority that conventional churches denied them. Many prominent spiritualist mediums parlayed their religious authority into other forms of social activism. Victoria Woodhull used her reputation as a medium to launch careers in finance and politics. The spiritualist movement also provided economic opportunities for women that were unavailable in conventional society. The parallel between female telegraph operators and female mediums wasn't coincidental. Both roles required sensitivity to weak signals and skill in interpretation. The American Civil War created unprecedented demand for spiritualist services while simultaneously demonstrating the military importance of telegraph technology. The war created enormous casualties that left thousands of families desperate for assurance that their deceased loved ones continued to exist. Many spiritualist mediums specialized in providing comfort to war widows and bereaved families, offering evidence that the war dead continued to exist in spiritual form. The rapid growth and commercialization of spiritualism created opportunities for exploitation that attracted numerous charlatans willing to prey on grief and spiritual hunger for personal profit. The most elaborate fraudulent operations involved carefully constructed séance rooms equipped with hidden mechanisms for producing apparently supernatural effects. Professional fraudsters developed systems of concealed wires, pulleys, mirrors, and speaking tubes that could create mysterious voices, moving objects, and phantom appearances. The most common fraudulent techniques were also the simplest. Table tipping could be produced through subtle muscular pressure applied by participants. Rapping sounds could be generated by cracking toe joints, tapping with concealed objects, or collaborating with assistants in adjacent rooms. The prevalence of fraud created serious problems for spiritualist credibility, but it also revealed the sophisticated techniques that investigators developed to detect deception. Serious researchers learned to examine séance rooms thoroughly, search mediums for hidden devices, and use various instruments to monitor for normal forces that might be producing apparently supernatural effects. The fraud question was complicated by the fact that even genuine mediums sometimes resorted to trickery when their natural abilities failed to perform on demand. This mixing of genuine and false phenomena made it extremely difficult to evaluate individual cases or the movement as a whole. The telegraph industry faced similar fraud problems. Unscrupulous operators could delay, alter, or fabricate messages for personal gain. The solution in both industries was the development of more sophisticated detection methods and quality control procedures. The spread of spiritualism from America to Europe provides a fascinating case study in how technological infrastructure enables the rapid global transmission of spiritual ideas. The same telegraph networks that connected American cities also connected America to Europe, carrying spiritualist concepts across the Atlantic with unprecedented speed. The first major European spiritualist was Allan Kardec, who developed a sophisticated philosophical system based on alleged communications with advanced spirits. His books became foundational texts for European spiritualism and influenced spiritual movements worldwide. The rapid transmission of spiritualist ideas between America and Europe was facilitated by the transatlantic telegraph cable, successfully laid in 1866. This technological achievement enabled near instantaneous communication between the two continents for the first time in history. The telegraph age forced a fundamental reconsideration of the relationship between mind and matter, consciousness and communication. Leading thinkers began developing theories that treated consciousness as a form of electrical phenomenon that could be generated, stored, transmitted and converted into other forms of energy. This electrical theory of consciousness provided a framework for understanding both telegraph communication and spirit communication as variations of the same fundamental process. In telegraph communication, human thoughts were converted into electrical signals, transmitted through copper wires and converted back into thoughts at the receiving end. The electrical theory also provided a way to reconcile spiritual experiences with scientific materialism. Instead of requiring belief in supernatural forces, spiritualist phenomena could be understood as natural processes that science hadn't yet learned to measure and control. The relationship between the telegraph and spiritualism established patterns that would repeat throughout technological history. Radio technology coincided with channeling movements claiming contact with extraterrestrial intelligences. Television coincided with increased interest in remote viewing. Computer networks coincided with digital mysticism. The internet coincided with online spiritual communities. Today, we carry smartphones that provide instant access to virtually all human knowledge and instant communication with people anywhere on Earth. We participate in virtual reality environments that exist only in computer memory, yet can produce meaningful experiences. Each of these technologies continues the work that the Telegraph began, revealing hidden aspects of consciousness and reality. The Telegraph and the Seance weren't competing technologies. They were complementary explorations of the same fundamental mystery. How does consciousness communicate across apparent separations of space, time, and physical embodiment? The Telegraph provided the technological answer. Invisible forces could carry coherent information across vast distances through proper understanding of electromagnetic principles. Spiritualism provided the spiritual answer. Invisible forces could carry consciousness itself across vast distances through proper understanding of psychic principles. James Burke helps us understand how the Telegraph created the conceptual framework that made spiritualism thinkable. Mitch Horowitz helps us understand how spiritualism explored the consciousness implications of what the Telegraph had demonstrated technologically. The conversation between technology and spirit that began with copper wires and spirit wrappings continues today through fiber optic cables and digital networks. The spirits they contacted may have been psychological projections, genuine discarnate entities, or something more complex than either explanation allows. But the human hunger for transcendent communication that their story expressed was utterly real. That door remains open, the conversation continues, and we are all participants in its unfolding. If this exploration of the hidden connections between technology and spirituality has sparked your curiosity, I invite you to join our growing community of seekers and thinkers. Subscribe to Myth, Magic and Mind to never miss an episode of this fascinating journey through the borderlands of science and spirit. Each week, we dive deeper into the mysteries that conventional thinking overlooks, the places where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge technology, where spiritual insight illuminates scientific discovery, and where the impossible becomes inevitable. From the Telegraph's ghostly voices to AI's digital souls, we are tracing the hidden threads that connect all human innovation to the evolution of consciousness itself. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up to help feed the algorithm and ensure these important conversations reach others who are ready to question everything they thought they knew about reality. Your engagement doesn't just support the channel, it helps build a community of people willing to explore the deepest questions about technology, consciousness, and the nature of existence itself. The spirits that spoke through the Fox sisters' wrapping tables may be long silent, but the conversation they started continues in every comment, every share, every moment of wonder you experience as we uncover the magical foundations of our technological world. Join us. The mystery is just beginning.